Chào buổi sáng, lớp. Tôi là ông Ngô. Bữa nay mình sẽ học về Việt Nam. I want to say good morning or whenever you might be watching this, but in this case, it's the morning for me. My name is Mr. No, and today is our first lesson learning about Vietnam. So I hope you join me on this journey. There'll be several more lessons where we start learning more about the language, the culture, the people, a little bit of the history, and some interesting facts about Vietnam. So let's get started. Now, before we get started fully, I do want to get to know you a little better, and hopefully you'll get to know me. So I'm going to first start out by introducing myself a little bit. Now you'll see right up there is the red flag and the yellow star of the country of Vietnam. You're probably asking yourself, how did I become associated or tied in with Vietnam? Well, my parents are actually Vietnamese, and they came to America where I was born. So I was born here. I am a American citizen, but by heritage and culture, I'm actually Vietnamese. Best of both worlds. So up here, you can see. In this case, I am Mr. No, but you can also call me Thầy Yao. Everyone practice saying that. Thầy Yao Anh Ngo. Thầy Yao Anh Ngo. Or in this case, Thầy Yao means teacher. Okay, so I'm a teacher, and I'll be kind of going through these fun lessons with you to get you to know a little bit more about the country of Vietnam, the people, the culture, the language. Um, Now, you'll see right there on here is a little bit about me already. One thing that you'll see is on the next screen, you'll see that I'm actually was born in um, I was born in a small city in the state of Missouri. Now, in Vietnamese, the word for state is Tư Bang. City or town is called Pho. So, tôi sinh ra Brookfield, Missouri, which means I was born in Brookfield, Missouri in Vietnamese. Upon being born in Brookfield, Missouri, my family then came to California, where I've lived my whole life, pretty much. So I've lived pretty much in San Diego, but primarily I've lived in one place, and that place is in North County of San Diego, in the city, Pho of San Marcos. And I've lived there pretty much my whole life. Love San Marcos. Tôi đã đến Cal State San Marcos, which means I attended Cal State San Marcos. Why am I talking about Cal State San Marcos so much? When growing up, it was the university that came to be in my city and kind of holds a near and dear place in my heart. I love the opportunity to go to school there, and that's where I ultimately became a teacher. So I attended the university there, Cal State University San Marcos. And the word for university in Vietnamese is Đại học. Đại học. Okay, so we'll come back to that word again. Now, let's get into a little bit more of Vietnamese language. And you're probably wondering a little bit about maybe where have you potentially heard the language, right? And some of you are probably thinking, well, I've heard it around the city or the town or the place that I live. That's pretty common. Another place that you might have heard it is just in your local community. Maybe you have neighbors who speak the language or who are Vietnamese, and you might have heard some of the wording, right? Another place where you might have heard it is very popular, like in many places where you can eat, restaurants, cafes. This is obviously a place where many people who are maybe serving Vietnamese food or a Vietnamese restaurant will be speaking Vietnamese. And you're probably able to learn some of the terms and things that you might have seen, right? And then last but not least, This is probably the most common place you would have heard Vietnamese, and that's right in your school. Right in your school is where you would have heard a lot of potentially Vietnamese from friends, classmates, whatever the case may be. Okay? So now you're probably wondering, we're moving pretty quick, but before we go any further, I want to state the fact that we're going to be learning some Vietnamese words and or phrases. I want you to remember that you're learning this for the first time. And as you learn it, just be mindful that you can always go back and practice. I'll do my best to go through with you and slow down at times and let you practice. But if you feel like I'm rushing through, take your time, go back and watch it whenever you want. All right? So let's get started with a little bit more knowledge about the language itself and how far spread it is. Now you'll see here is a very small map of the world. And you'll see that there's places that are kind of colored pink and then a little bit darker red and a really dark red. This represents most of the places where Vietnamese is actually spoken. Now, some of these areas where there's large, widespread areas over the world, it doesn't necessarily mean that Vietnamese is the main language, but it is indeed spoken in those areas. Now, you'll also notice that here is Vietnam right there, that small kind of S-shaped country. And we'll take another larger look at the country as we go further into some of the other lessons. But Vietnam is spoken worldwide, all over the world, which is Dai Duc. Dai Duc means world, and approximately over 60 million people speak a little bit of Vietnamese. Vietnamese is spoken in Vietnam, which is the pronunciation of Vietnam, right? Vietnam. Next, surrounding Vietnam is Cambodia, and north of Vietnam, directly north of it on the mainland, is China. Cambodia and China, many people in those countries also speak Vietnamese. The United States of America has many Vietnamese speakers, as many of them migrated and came to America and now call America, North America, their home. And then last but not least, in the continent of Australia, also pronounced oh, which is Australia, there are lots of many Vietnamese people call Australia home and speak, many people speak Vietnamese in Australia. And then last but not least, many of the surrounding other Asian countries have some people that speak Vietnamese. So that's kind of where it is spoken and some of the culture is shared around the world. Okay, now we're going to jump forward now, and now we're going to get into some basic words and eventually move up to some phrases. Now, these basic words and phrases is for you to practice so you can start saying things and having conversations potentially with people with Vietnamese. Okay, so another way of saying it is we are going to learn học cách để cho nói chuyện tiếng Việt Nam. Learning strategies and ways to speak Vietnamese. All right, I'm going to move myself to the middle of the screen, and we're going to start out with some basics. Okay, and I'll make myself a little bit bigger for all of you as well. So here's a little image of a person saying hello or hi. We would often say in English, hello or hi. We can even use a hand motion. In Vietnamese, it is pronounced Dao. Dao. You'll also notice something here that's kind of interesting. You'll see some of the words will have what's called accent marks. And in different languages, I'm not gonna fully get into all that, but in some of the languages, they'll have accent marks to have you bring the sound of the letter or the word higher or lower in certain places. So in this case, it's Dao. Dao is hello. Okay. All right. Let's get going on to the next thing. Now the opposite hello is bye. Okay, bye. Or in English, we would say goodbye. And in Vietnamese, it's, ready? It's 2 words. Tạm biệt. Try say it with me one more time. I'll go slowly with my cursor. Tạm biệt. Now you'll notice something, that the E has that little tent accent mark, which makes that sound, that E kind of go up, but that T doesn't even sound like an E. It sounds like a K almost, like beak. Tạm biệt. Okay? All right, let's go on. Next one is thank you. So this is very obviously common in the English language, or in every language. We have to learn how to say thank you. And in this case, we are going to be learning it. And it's 2 words. Come on. Come on. Come on. Come on means thank you. Let's try it one more time. Come on means thank you. All right. Let's keep moving. All right, this one isn't that whole phrase, and it's a little bit trickier, okay? So in this case, we already know what hello is, Dao, right? Dao. So in this case, in English, when you first introduce somebody, or yourself to somebody, excuse me, it would be hello, my name is, right? So you know that in Vietnamese, Dao Tân, Dao Tân, tôi là. Dao means hello. Tân actually means name, and we've switched it. So it is Dao Tân tôi là. So in this case, it's the literal translation would be hello, Tân name, tôi, which would be me or my, and then is, right? But in this case, in the Vietnamese language, it would be, let's say together, Dao Tân tôi là, which means, hello, my name is. All right, let's keep moving along. Now, this one, pretty straightforward. You would say no. No, thank you, right? No. And in Vietnamese, it's pronounced không. And once again, you'll notice that little tent-like accent mark above the O, which means không. It goes up. You hear my voice? Let's try it one more time. Ready? Không. And it kind of goes up right at the O. Không means no. All right, thumbs up, which obviously means in most places of the world, thumbs up means good. Good. And in Vietnamese, that means tốt. 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 Okay? I know you look at it and the first thing you want to say is tot, like as in tater tots. But it's actually tốt. Tốt. And that T almost disappears almost. Tốt. Right? That means good. Now the opposite of good, obviously, is now bad. Thumbs down, right? And in the Vietnamese language, that means xấu. Xấu means bad. Xấu. Okay? Let's keep going. All right. So we got to the part where we're going to kind of review the basics, right? So we're going to review some of these before we get on to a couple of phrases. Now, as we go to the phrases, you'll hear me say it, but you'll also hear an audio of a language of how it's said. So let's kind of hear both, but let's first review. So remember this one, you should remember it, is hello, or in this case, chào. Chào lớp. If I said chào lớp bữa nay, chào lớp bữa nay, that means hello class, or hello class today. Chào lớp is hello class, chào lớp. Opposite of chào or hello or hi is tạm biệt. Tạm biệt is goodbye, right? Tạm biệt. Thank you. Some of you remember this one. 2 words. Cảm ơn. Cảm ơn means thank you. Cảm ơn. Okay, this was our first kind of long phrase, so here we go. Are you ready? Chào. Hello. Tân. Tân name. Tôi. Me or my. Là is. Chào Tân tôi là. Chào Tân tôi là Mr. No. Or I could also say chào Tân tôi là thầy. Thầy giáo Ngo. Teacher, right? Chào Tân tôi là. Okay? Go back and practice that one because it is longer. All right, let's keep moving on. All right. This one, let's review this one. No means không. Không. Okay? Không means no. This one, thumbs up, meaning good, is tốt. Tốt. Let's say it one more time. Tốt. And remember, as interesting or as different and unique the words are, you can always go back and practice and play the video again. Okay, thumbs down. The opposite of good is bad, which is in this case xấu. Xấu. Okay, xấu means bad or not good. Okay, all right. Now we are going, I'm going to shrink myself because we're going to go on to the next screen and we're going to get into a couple of phrases, some more advanced phrases. As we go through more of the lessons, we'll trickle some more of those in, meaning để thêm cái vô, meaning we'll put more in. For right now, I think these are good to start out with. And these are a little bit more challenging because they are full phrases. But the one thing you'll see is on these, we've done it how it would actually sound in actually the way it would sound in English. So this is good morning, right? Good morning is chào buổi sáng. Let's say it together slow. Chào buổi sáng. Now you'll notice that it's spelled out the way that it sounds. Chào buổi sáng. Chào buổi sáng means chào buổi sáng means good morning. Okay. This one is chào mừng. Chào, hello, mừng means welcome. Chào mừng. Welcome. Chào mừng. Chào mừng. Let's say it one more time. Chào mừng. Okay? And then the last one is very interesting. This means, how are you? You might ask this to somebody when you see them, maybe a friend, some relatives, okay, maybe even your teacher. Thầy giáo, hỏi thầy giáo cái này, meaning ask your teacher this. How are you or how is it going is dạ khỏe không. Dạ khỏe không means how are you? Dạ khỏe không. Let's say it one more time. Dạ khỏe không. Okay, that kind of concludes our kind of introduction to learning about Vietnamese. We'll definitely review some of these the next time I see you again, right? And up here it says tiếng Việt or exploring tiếng Việt, tiếng Việt, tiếng Việt, tiếng Việt Việt Nam, meaning the Vietnamese language, okay? So hopefully the next time you see me, you might say, dạ khỏe không? How are you, Mr. No? Okay? And with that being said, we are going to be taking a look next time at numbers. So lesson 2 will be numbers in Vietnamese. Okay? Once again, we're going to keep it pretty basic so that we make sure that you can learn how to count to the basic number 10 From there, we're going to teach you some basic strategies when we're counting above 10. We're only going to most likely practice up to 50 because it'll take a little bit of time, but there'll be a unique strategy and a way that I'll teach you on how you can count above 10 and keep going with a simple strategy. And then we'll review counting. Now, counting is dim. Dim means counting. Numbers is so. So dim so. We're going to be learning how to dim so. Học cách để cho điểm số. Học cách để điểm số. The next time I see you. Okay? So I hope you learned a little bit about Vietnamese. I hope you learned a little bit about me. And I hope you go back and practice. And I look forward to seeing you the next time around. Take care. Tạm biệt, and we'll see you soon.